Hello Year 5, Mr. Bristow here, and welcome to your last tutorial of the week and potentially your last tutorial of our remote learning cycle. Today is your day to really put your imagination into overdrive and think about what, when you return to school, you want to write about in your narrative next week. What is Hercules going to have to do to complete his 13th trial? And in your activity pack today, you will find this grid. This grid is there to help you. Okay? Now, it's really important that you take the time to fill this grid in. The more thoroughly you do it now, the less work you have to do when you're writing, because all the answers will be in this side, and all you'll have to do is basically connect the bits with into sentences. But you will have the basic structure of your work, and you will have basic parts of the sentence that you can use quite easily. So, what are we asking you to do? Basically, plan. So, the opening of your trial. Well, first of all, what I would say is your trial name I would leave to the very end. Think about giving it a really cool name after you've planned it and you know everything that's going to happen. So in our opening, we are looking at when, who, and where. And I've put that section of my trial on there, just so you have something to refer to if you need to. And we've got what happens. So you need to think about what happens to Hercules, what happens to Hera, what happens in the Great Hall, and what happens after the Great Trial. These are sort of the main points of mine that I've pulled out. So I've got two characters, one location, and when it's set. When, who, where. And you can do exactly the same. So I might be planning mine, and instead of an adventure where Hercules fights Medusa, I still like the thought of him battling someone, but in my research of Greece I found out that there's a god of the underworld called Hades. So I think eventually in this version that my Hercules is going to fight the bad guy called Hades. And if you've seen the Hercules Disney film, Hades is the one with the sort of fire blue hair. So I think I'm going to magpie quite a lot of the start. So when is it? So we are still going to be after the 12th trial. Hercules is going to visit Hera to claim prize. Where's he going to do this? I think he's going to do it at a temple. So he gets to the temple, and she sets another trial, and then he leaves. So that is the basic three events that's going to happen in my opening paragraph. Okay? And you can see I've written in sentences so that when I come to write my opening paragraph next week, I can use these sentences to inform what I'm going to write as my actual story. Exhausted after the 12th trial, Hercules made his way to visit Hera. He knew she was at the bottom of the mountain that contained the great temple, Mount Olympus. Mount Olympus was an impressive building, and it seemed a very fitting place for Hercules to receive his prize. When he finally dragged his way up to the bottom of the hill, he gazed upon Hera, who had a menacing look in her eye. She smiled and stated, "Well done, Hercules. However, fate has another task for you." Hercules felt his body sink. Terror and dread filled him. Normally he was not frightened, but this time he could not help but feel anxious. He received his instructions from Hera and left the mountain. And that was me just going off the very top of my head there, but shows you the more thoroughly you do this, I should not see a recreation of these bullet points. I should see this happens, then I want this to happen, then I want this to happen, then I want this to happen. If you have to do bullet points, that's fine, but they shouldn't be single word. You should still tell me events. So, the build-up, Hercules is going to the place, so for me, the first thing he's going to do is he needs to get a map from town. He then follows the map to the forest, and then you'll keep going with the rest of your points, but you see how these are sentences, these are events. I'm almost timelining what is going to happen. You are all more than capable of doing that, and as I say, the more thorough you are in knowing what is going to happen, who is in your story, the easier your actual writing will be next week. I really look forward to seeing what you produce, and I will see you all soon.